And so the next part of our program is we are going to welcome our first speaker. So let me just tell you about our speaker who actually took a half day out from her work just to give us a professional insight about how music and depression relate pretty well. So she is, for the radio junkies, you might find her familiar or sound familiar. She's a DJ at Monster Radio, BT 1059. She is also a teacher from the Psychology Department at University of San Carlos. Any students here from USC? Yay! Good job, guys, for being here. And she is a master's in social psychology candidate at USC too. So without further ado, help me welcome Miss Anne Margaret Noval.
Evening, guys. Okay, estudyante. Okay. Anyway, hi. My name is Anne Margaret, but most people actually know me as Indy. So if you listen to Monster, I'm actually DJing. So, invited ko ni LJ to talk about music and mental health, basically. My talk is really more on generalized on mental health and how it connects to music. Just for you guys to know, actually, you might think I might talk about music therapy, but it's actually not. I'm not a clinical psychologist, I'm actually a social psychologist, so I don't specialize in the clinical field. But I am very interested in music and how it can actually affect our mental health. So it's probably one of the reasons why LJ decided to take me as one of the, invite me as one of the speakers. So, excuse my notes, because I have to have notes or else I will dally all night and talk about the most random things. So, what do you guys usually do when you feel sad? What are the things that you do? You sleep, what else? Eat. Okay, food is life. But what else? You what? You what? Listen to music. That's definitely one of the things that we do to help lift our moods and feel better. So music is known to help relieve stress, lower depression, and counteract other negative. Can I have the lights on, please? I'm sorry. Sorry. Hanap na siya yung mata ko yan. So anyway, going back. So music is really known to help relieve stress, lower depression, and counteract the negative emotions and our negative emotions and feelings. So studies actually suggest that music can even lower the need for the use of prescription drugs, although it's not saying that it can totally eradicate the use of prescription drugs. Study shows that it can actually lower the need for that. Now, it's also found to increase self-acceptance, self-awareness, and expression, stimulation of speech, which I'll talk about in detail in a bit, and motor integration, as well as a sense of belongingness and enhancement of communication and relationship, which actually is very connected to happiness. So really, music has a lot to do with our mental health. And over the past few years, scientific and supporting studies have really took off in the early 2000s, that music has been used, on how music is being used in the clinical setting. But we've been using music as a way of expression and as a way of relieving stress for a very long time. Music is actually very culturally bounded, especially to us Visayas. Grabe kayo. A lot of historians would really agree nga we're a very musical group. Music is something that is very we as people have a very rich culture when it comes to music, and very rich history when it comes to music. Hatagi gitara, pakantahan sa Bisaya, you could say musikero dyan na sila. So a highlight during the back in 2004 basically is the research that was conducted, or a research that was released by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, which was a consolidated report of more than 600 studies on how the manipulation of light and sound, specifically music, has dramatic effects on how fast and how well a patient actually recovers. Since then, a lot of medical facilities and clinics actually have integrated or started putting effort in providing their clients and providing their patients a more holistic environment when it comes to healing, and as well as integrating music in healing. So what off of that study, off of that consolidation or of that collection, I basically just highlighted the main points of how mental health and music nowadays, the study anyway, is related, or how music can actually help with our mental health. So one is that it can reduce anxiety and the physical effects of stress. So music appears to have a direct effect through our autonomic nervous system. That is, it causes immediate motor and emotional responses, especially when combined with movement and stimulation for different sensory pathways. Now, here's the thing. People believe, you might think that music therapy is just you listening to music. It's actually not. It's more than that. A lot of music therapists actually integrate motion with music. So you not only dance, some even make music when they're in a session of music therapy. So there's also that motor concept of it. It's not just the auditory that's being in play, but there's also the motor skill. So music has been proven to reduce stress and anxiety, as well as minimize, that is, the effects of stress, the physical effects of stress. It is. Another thing that music does is it can help manage neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson, as well as Alzheimer's. So a lot of studies have actually found that music can help those who have Alzheimer's and Parkinson's actually retain that cognitive connection that slowly degrades because of that concern, or because of that disease. Music can also reduce the symptoms of psychological disorders such as schizophrenia. A recent study that was done in South Korea to be specific, and this was a study done in 2016, very recent, found that music can actually help improve the conditions and interpersonal relationships with patients who suffer mental illnesses, specifically schizophrenia. Other things that music can also they found that music helps is the reduction of depression. Not the reduction, but the enhancement of sleep quality. This is something that I personally believe as well. If you guys are familiar with binaural sounds or binaural tones, it's actually two different tones that's being played on your different ear. It's a different tone that's played here and a different tone that's played on your other ear, and your mind basically creates a third tone. Now, binaural tones have studies on binaural tones or binaural tones placed in music actually found that they can actually help alleviate stress as well as help you sleep. So not only just binaural tones, but music in general can actually help enhance your sleep quality, as well as give you a longer sleep duration, greater sleep efficacy, and a shorter time to need to fall asleep. It is definitely something that I personally do. I listen to music before I go to sleep because it really helps me fall asleep. And then, of course, music helps the reduction of depression and other symptoms. So music is shown to have helped improve social, psychological, intellectual, and even the cognitive performance among subjects that have depression. Now, common challenges that people that have depression with are that feeling of isolation, what else? Anxiety, fatigue. Music is found to have helped with mood improvement, provide a sense of comfort and relaxation, and even modify the behavior of the person. And finally, the last point that I would like to highlight through the consolidated studies is that it can actually help improve self-expression and communication, which is something very near and dear to me because I work for communication, or in the field of communication, as well as psychology. So one of the longest standing use for music interventions is really to help those who have difficulty with self-expression, through listening and through listening and using music, through learning, basically it teaches them how to better respond through verbal and non-verbal feedback. In fact, music is oftentimes used in children with developmental delays such as autism and delayed speech development. So, music not only helps you feel better, but it can also help you express yourself, and it can also help you basically learn to communicate with others. I would also like to share maybe something that personal stories. So as you guys know, I'm actually a DJ. And back then I used to be the midnight jock. I used to go on air from 10 all the way down to 2 in the morning, 10 p.m. to 2 in the morning. So I can tell you a million stories, crazy stories that happens during the midnight shift. I grew up, I started becoming, I've been doing radio, I've been broadcasting for almost a decade. So almost 10 years na po in the industry. And I was there, I started during the time wherein Facebook was not really that koan yet. We did not really harness the power of Facebook just yet. And bago ra tong Facebook atong nga time, so nakaagi pa ko atong when people still technically listen to the radio for fun and not just for balita or just to kill time. Now, back then when I was doing the midnight show, kay daghan kay kog mga like every night I probably get an average of 5 callers that would talk about the most random things from religion to politics to drug, sex, and rock and roll. So, weird kito siya. If you're a midnight jock, you promise, daghan kayo mga weird nga mga experiences or mga peculiar nga mga experiences. So, one time, this thing happened wherein it was probably around mga 10 minutes to midnight. It was like really, really late at night na. Somebody called the station and asked for a song. I forgot what song it was, but it was a low beat tempo song, and then it was actually sounded kind of sad. I forgot the title lang dun sa song, but it was a pretty sad song. I think it was an Alanis Morissette song or something. But, so ni-request siya. So after she requested, she basically just put the phone down, and that's it. So I played the song after she put the phone down, and then a few minutes later, after the song played, she called me again. Nanawag na sad siya. And then she started talking. She's like, thank you so much for playing my song. I feel so much better. And then the next thing I know, we've been talking on the phone for 1 hour. Layo na kayo may conversation. Like she started, layo na kayo may naabot na siya sa iyang family, naabot na siya about sa iyang life. And I was there because I stayed on the phone, although I had other things to do. I was doing the boards, I was playing music, ad-libbing. But I felt sad nga, she really needed somebody to talk to, sad. So I actually stayed on the line with her and talked to her. And I didn't realize na sa kauras na di ay mikapin gasturya. So, I don't know, these are just the little things that I probably personally have experienced related to my job as well as music na probably have helped someone. You won't even realize just by listening to a song, maybe playing, for somebody that's working in broadcasting, you won't even realize na a song can actually make somebody's day and make them feel happier. Another similar story that happened with a senior jock, Joe Phoenix, if you guys still remember him. He's not in Cebu anymore, but he was a very well-established broadcaster. He was also one of the senior jocks in Monster during that time. Nakasuway sa siya nga nainanawag, ni-request. After he played the song, the person that requested called back again and told him na, if you didn't play that song and talk to me earlier, I would have killed myself. So, again, these are just the little things that Joe actually made friends with the guy. In fact, nakita dito sila in real life and friends dito sila. He told me the story because he was also the midnight jock, and we share stories sa mga experiences na mo. Again, these are just the little things that you guys might not realize that matters, but it really does. So, I guess for me, as somebody working for media and somebody that is working very closely with music and musicians, it's something that I would really like to share to them, because who knows, your music and your music might actually inspire somebody. For all the musicians out there, huwag mo kay bao guys, nga inyong music naka-inspire someone to actually continue with their lives and make their lives better rather than just stopping it there and feeling like the whole world is ending. So that's basically the end of my talk. So thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much, LJ, for inviting me over.
Thank you so much, Miss Anne, for that very touching talk. And it's really true. Sometimes, most Cebuanos know, all of us, like 90% of us know how to sing. So music is really in our soul, or playing the instruments or musical instruments. And if I feel sad, most of us, if we feel sad, we listen to music. If we want to be kind, we listen to music. If we want to be riled up and, for a cause, we listen to, I listen to personally the 30 Seconds to Mars. So, di ba, kuya? So, after I listen to 30 Seconds to Mars, ambot lang, after listening to them, ganahan kay ko mo help. Like, I want to, I get angry, no, what many sidewalk here? Ano ba? So, music is very special to us. So, that was just my personal story.